We got to score a freaking point.
Bueller.
And welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Breakfast Bets podcast here on SteadyPicks. I'm Reichel, joined again by my co-host, the host of the Hold My Ball podcast, Jake Savicki, and here to break down some of the key Wednesday baseball matchups while sharing our favorite bets. Jake, how's it going with you? What's up?
It is going good today. Going good, always. You'll get that answer from me no matter how it's going because I believe in speaking things into existence.
I also believe in repetitions. You're going to get the exact same question phrased the exact same way to give me the exact same answer. So
I like that.
There you go. It's part of the routine. You got to build in the same answer every single time. But we're back once again to break down some of the Wednesday games. We'll also recap some stuff that happened yesterday, and we'll mention I'd say once again, at the bulk of the episode, it's a pick show. So we're going to get into some home runs. We'll get into some overall matchups, how teams are trending, etc. Should be fun. Of course, do want to start off with, I'd say, one big performance yesterday that happened, which low-key helped me cash my 4-0 episode yesterday for the plays, which was pretty cool. We actually had a graphic made up, so I appreciate that. But ended up going 4-0. I had the Soriano under strikeouts. That was never in doubt. The Red Sox first 5 team total over, plus money. Cash in the first inning. Shout out to Merrill Kelly. I had the first 5 under in the Mets game and had the Brewers minus 1.5, and they won by 22 runs. But we're going to start off with one player that saved my sweep yesterday, Fernando Tatis Jr. If you weren't aware of his performance yesterday, then you missed one of the performances of the entire season by any player because he had 2 home runs, and on top of that said, you know what, let's play some defense because he robbed Lindor of a grand slam with 2 outs, as we have the clip playing on screen right now. Could be play of the year because there was no stalling at the wall. He ran over, leaped, and proved why he's won a platinum glove before. But Tatis, we know, is an electric player who's capable of taking a game over by himself. And yesterday, he definitely took the game over by himself.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete, man. He is. You texted me. I didn't see this play live, but you texted me and said, "What a play! That guy's a freak." And I literally, to me, he is probably, when you talk all around, I think he might be the best athlete in baseball. He's a freak athlete, and I think he's a good example of what how far athleticism will take you in baseball, because he was a shortstop. And a shortstop is a very athletic / fundamentally sound position. He didn't have the fundamentals. He had the athleticism. He made the amazing play every now and then botched a couple routine ones. And we've talked about this before. Angel's infield coordinator a long time ago told me, when you have a shortstop, you want vanilla ice cream. It's the same everywhere you go. You know what you're getting. He's going to make the routine plays, and you can put some sprinkles on it every now and then. But vanilla ice cream is always vanilla ice cream. And that's why Tatis is in right field instead of shortstop still. But freak athlete, 2 bombs. This play right here, I took him for 20. Well, I didn't take him. I guessed he was going to finish with about 20 bombs after he was 2 months into the season without one. Too athletic to not adjust.
Yeah, I feel like just mentioning Tatis, his overall career, I think is very fascinating because I can't tell how good of a career he's actually had so far based on the talent. It's been a very up and down ride for Tatis so far in the majors. He came up in 2019, immediately had 22 homers in 84 games. So he had a monster start to his career. Then, of course, he ended up having the motorcycle accident mixed in with the PED suspension. And as we talked about a second ago, as you brought it up, he was playing shortstop, and he just couldn't field shortstop. So they moved him to the outfield, and he became a platinum glover out there. Then in this season, he had 1 homer basically entering June, and now he has 15. So it's really just been a weird career for Tatis. But the upside's always been there, and the athleticism has always been there. But how would you describe his career so far? Because everyone kind of views him as a star in the league because the plays speak for themselves. Not many players can do what he did yesterday 2 homers and a robbed home run out there in right. And yet at the same point, if you replayed his career so far in like a simulation 10 times, is this like one of the potentially worst outcomes so far for him? Because he's so talented, and yet he hasn't really been able to piece it together for a full season. Injuries haven't really helped out, but he had 42 homers back in 2021. That's the only time he's ever had 26 plus homers in a season.
Statistically, Tatis is not that good. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's very good. I'm not saying that. But when you explain it the way you just did, and you look at the stats, never one time over 25 home runs. He is, I mean, that if you're an outfielder that has 20 to 25 home runs every year, good for you. But you're not getting paid the way Bryce Harper is when he was an outfielder and he's hitting 40 a year or whatever it might be. I just think the PED thing is a bummer because it will taint his career forever. That's
how it goes.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. And I don't say a bummer like for him, his career is tainted. It's a bummer that it happened. It's a bummer that he did that because I don't know that he needed it. Who knows? He's a freak athlete. This guy's an athlete. I just think that's what you get with athleticism. I think you get a cap to your career, your talent, your whatever you want to call it, in a sense of you rely on the athleticism so much. And maybe this is a personal thing because when I played, I was very athletic. I had very little skill, talent, whatever. But I relied on my athleticism, and it took me as far as it took me, and it wasn't that far. It's a very skilled game. The athleticism helps, obviously. If you are athletic, it helps. But you look at a first baseman, you look at a Alejandro Kirk, you look at a Chapman, you look at the different bodies, the different types that can play this game. It's a skilled sport, very skilled. So guys like Tatis, I think, rely more on the athleticism, which is fine in the outfield and doing what he's doing out there. Use the arm, use the speed, use it. But when you rely a little too much, I think that's where you miss the time put in on the mechanics side of it, and you never really will reach your full potential. Some guys, and I think he just feels like that to me. He's a free swinger at the plate, which I like, but I don't know. I think that really, for me, the underlining thing is when you rely that much on your athleticism, you're going to cap yourself a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen Tatis. The main reason why he has only hit 26 plus home runs one time are the injuries, because he's only played more than 142 games one time in his career, and that was actually last season when he had 25. So the fact is injuries have played a factor constantly in his career. They've kind of lingered, and that might be why the stats aren't as impressive as you might think. But the talent speaks for itself, and we saw that yesterday, that he can take over games pretty much single-handedly, and he carried San Diego to a win. And a big reason why the Padres are suddenly relevant in the NL wildcard race now is because Tatis and Machado, who both homered yesterday, are suddenly figuring it out. Machado is one of the worst hitters in the league the first couple months this season. And then once he picked it up, once Tatis picked it up, once Merrill picked it up, the team kind of took off from there. And the segue, briefly involving the Padres in the grand scheme of things this season, right now they have a 2-game cushion over the Diamondbacks for the final wildcard spot. So we'll see if they hold on or not. But we know San Diego can be a potentially frisky playoff team just based on the talent they have. They have game changers. I know last year in the postseason, it didn't work out. The Cubs beat them pretty easily in the first round. But I do want to ask you about this Padres team. First of all, with a 2-game cushion over Arizona, they have their own issues with Marte, who's going to be out indefinitely. But for San Diego, first of all, do you think they get into the playoffs? And second of all, what do you think their ceiling actually is, assuming they do get in?
I think they get in. I think their ceiling is very high. I think this is a very good baseball team. When you watch certain teams go through it early, you can tell that they're going to be going through it all season. They're going to struggle to get anything going. When I watched the Padres early on, too many good players. They had some injuries, but too many good players not to put this kind of team on the field at some point. And I think this is more indicative of the Padres and their talent level. than the early season was, because you get guys like a young Merrill, a Tatis, a Machado. They're going to figure things out. Cronenworth is back. Good for him. You got France at first. You got a pitching staff that I think is very good. I like them. As a Dodger fan, I don't feel good. I wouldn't feel good about playing them in the playoffs at all. With the way the Dodgers are playing right now and the way the Padres are playing, that would not be a nice matchup for them. So I like this Padres team. Machado hit with Aaron Judge's guy this offseason for the first time in Machado's 15-year career, however long he's been here, which Richard Shank, the teacher man on social media, as everybody knows him. So it was no surprise Machado was absolute garbage early on. Strikeouts at an all-time high in his career, a couple home runs here and there, batting average at an all-time low. He's hitting 217 now. I mean, that's brutal. 24 jacks. How many Ks does he got? 114 strikeouts. That's what happens to everybody who goes to Aaron Judge's hitting coach that is not Aaron Judge. It just is the way it is. And Machado talked about it. Yeah, tried something a little different. And, he didn't blame it on that, but all of a sudden he started moving away from all the shit he was learning. And now, what do you know? He's hitting the ball. So interesting story. But I do like this Padres team a lot if I'm looking at a team that can do some damage in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit lower than you on San Diego, but I think they'll get into the playoffs anyway. I think Arizona might be a team. Without Marte, I'm just not sure they're going to keep it together. So we'll see what happens there. But my concern is the rotation. They've had some injuries. Yes, they did make some moves at the trade deadline, end up getting Robbie Ray, who's had some serious command issues lately, which has been concerning. And you have Mize, and we'll see how those two work together in San Diego. But in general, your rotation right now, in any order, is King, Mize, Buehler, Ray, and Vasquez. Vasquez is not really, in my opinion, a playoff starter. I think he's going to be more of a bridge guy. You might end up using to piggyback at some point because the length usually isn't there in his outings anyway. But you're putting a lot on the Mize, Buehler, and Ray plate, and I'm a little bit concerned by that, I'd say, idea in a potential playoff series against elite offenses. So I think that will eventually limit the ceiling of this team. The bullpen's good. We know Miller's an insane closer. Shut the door again yesterday against the Mets. But if you're asking what I think will eventually be the undoing of this team, that rotation can go south very quickly. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, perhaps I would like to rephrase my earlier comments. They have a very good bullpen. I do not feel confident about their starting pitching, especially after listening to you. I think they have very good arms, but I don't think good arms that are a coin flip every day. Buehler, was good the other day when I bet against him. King, usually very good. When he's not, he's real bad for some reason.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ray and Mize have been whatever they've been since they've come over. I don't think. Are they dangerous in the playoffs? Sure. Are they a World Series team when you have 4 coin flips for starting pitchers? I don't think so.
Yeah, they can definitely upset a team in a round, though. I can see them getting hot if Tatis and Machado keep rolling. They can definitely, drag the team to what could be a very tough series victory. But do I think they represent the NL for the pennant? No, I don't. I think their rotation needs to be better. Injuries didn't help. Musgrove got hurt. I think he would have been a big guy for them. But it is what it is. I think San Diego, for where they were a couple months ago, they're thrilled to be in this spot. But there definitely are still some limitations involving the rotation for me, which I think will eventually be the deal breaker for this team in the playoffs. But getting in is part of the battle. And so far, right now, they control their own destiny.
No doubt about it. Get in, get hot.
Yep, but shout out to Tatis yesterday, who helped carry me to a 4-0 episode, because that grand slam would have lost my play single-handedly, and he saved my ass. So I appreciate that from Tatis. But either way, going to segue. Wait, do you have anything else?
You can thank the Padres twice on your unders in the first 5. They got 3 or 4 guys thrown out at home in the first 2 innings for you the day before, and Tatis robs a grand slam the next day.
That was the underrated side note of the game yesterday, is that Ewing threw out another guy on the base paths yesterday, which I don't know if that got caught, but yeah, Ewing had another outfield assist yesterday. So there you go. They can't run the bases, but Tatis can hit some homers. So there you go. You can take all the time you want if you hit it over the fence. So there you go. But moving on into the actual games we're going to talk about here for the Wednesday card. First game on the slate, we have a match between the Diamondbacks and the Red Sox. So for this one, we have the Red Sox, who have been in good form lately. They won 3 of the last 4, all 3 wins by 4+ runs. Arizona has not been in good form lately, 2-5 in the last 7. Update on Marte, he reported has an alleged knee issue, and for the return date, we have no idea. He might not come back at any point this season. Who knows? But definitely a big piece missing in that lineup. For the pricing in this one, Red Sox are laying 157. Arizona is plus 150. And the over-under is at 8.5. Minus 125 on the under, and the over is plus 105. Very solid pitching matchup for this game. We have Fod taking on Tolley. Both pitchers have been absolute nails lately. Fod in the last 9 starts has been arguably the best pitcher in the entire league. 54 2/3 innings, a 1.15 ERA. He shut down the Braves and outdueled Chris Sale in his last start, giving up no runs. And you have Tolley going for Boston. Last 4 starts, 25 1/3 innings, a 1.78 ERA. Jake, what are you going to do for this game?
I'm going to take the under 8.5 for this game. I'm going to hope that these starting pitchers both do their jobs, because Tolley is one of my favorite guys to see up there. He brings some pretty incredible energy.
It's the mustache. You said,
yeah, great mustache. Fod has been, as you said, one of the best pitchers in the game last X amount of starts. I would hope they both do their job, 6, maybe 7 innings if we're lucky. And then at that point, I don't fully trust either of these offenses to pile on runs late in the game. That is my hope. I went 1-3 yesterday. I did take the under on the Brewers game. The Brewers scored 22 by themselves. So
to be fair, it was like 1-0 in the 5th inning. So, you know.
I'm going to call the sports books and say, hey, to be fair, guys.
Yeah.
It was on pace. It was on pace to win, you know. Horseshoes and hand grenades. Yeah, I like the under 8.5 on this one. I don't like where the Diamondbacks are at all right now. I think this Marte thing is a big deal for an organization just in general. It's something you have to deal with, and distractions are what they are. Yeah, distractions are what they are. I don't like them. Boston went on a very nice run, hasn't looked the same since. I'm going to just ride with these 2 pitchers here and hope it carries through the rest of the game.
Yeah, so we would talk more about the Marte situation if we knew more information about it, but the Diamondbacks have been pretty, I'd say, careful to not let anything leak. So we'll mention it once we get more information, a bit more in detail, but definitely concerning, especially for a guy who's as talented as Marte is for that team. Yep. But for this one, I went with you on the under, but I'm going to ignore the bullpens, even though Boston's bullpen has been great this season. I got the first 5 under at 4.5 minus 130. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I've been taking first 5 unders the last couple of episodes. They've been good to me. I've been giving me the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 130. Right off the pitching numbers recently, Fod gives up no runs to anybody, limits the home run ball, which is very nice. Tolley has been great recently. Arizona, besides the 1 grand slam by Moreno, did nothing yesterday. So I like the idea of one of these teams at least dragging the total down. Shout out to Rushman, first home run with the Red Sox yesterday. That was nice to see. But for this game, I agree with you on the full game under, but I'll just take the first 5 under because I just want to only back these 2 pitchers. So we're on the same page, but slightly different. Give me the first 5 under 4.5 at minus 130 as my play for this one. Anything else you want to add for this matchup?
Nope.
Cool. So moving on to the next game, we have the Marlins taking on the Phillies. For the pricing, Phillies are minus 124. Marlins are plus 115. Over-under is at 8.5. First 2 games have been close in this series, but Philly has gotten the better of the first 2 matchups. Philly is quietly won 5 in a row. So they've been playing some good baseball recently. Miami, not so much. They're 2-4 in their last 6. You have Alcantara taking on Nola in this one. Alcantara has been incredible recently. The last 4 starts, 27 innings, only 1 run allowed. Nola's going for Philly, who's been fine recently. Last 4 starts, 21 2/3 innings, a 2.91 ERA. However, Nola's been really bad at Citizens Bank so far this season. At home, 60 2/3 innings, a 6.23 ERA. So, Jake, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
You know, because of Nola, I don't necessarily, and Alcantara, I don't love the I don't love taking a team to win this one. I'm going to go with Otto Lopez. Hits, runs, and ribbies. 1.5. I'm going to take the over. Hitters hit. I think he's going to find his way on base a couple times via base hits. If not, I think he'll score. Hopefully somebody's on at some point, but I like Otto Lopez in this one. Hits, runs, ribbies.
Yeah, so I thought about going with the under in the game, but I think I'd rather go for the first 5 under because these games so far in the series have gone a bit crazy towards the end. So I'll ignore the bullpens, but I do actually think that it's going to be a pretty, in my opinion, a low-scoring start to this game. Even money, I think it's a good price on the first 5 under. You're looking at Alcantara. I said before, he's given up 1 run in his last 4 starts combined. Nola's home numbers aren't that great this season, but recently he's been better at home. Want to mention some trends, though. 7 of Miami's last 9 road games had less than 5 runs in the first 5, and 6 of Philly's last 9 home games had less than 5 runs in the first 5. I like the trends. I like the price. Nola has been better than people have realized recently, and Alcantara's been great. So based on that, I'll go for the first 5 under 4.5. I'm going to keep doing it until I start losing these first 5s. Keep signing me up. Give me the first 5 under 4.5 at even money as my play for this one. Anything else you want to add for this matchup?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat over here. Nola is BP, worst contract in Phillies history. What is his contract? 7 years, 172 mil, signed in 2023. So you got this guy for another 27, 28, 29, 30?
4 I can double check that, but you got him for a while.
You got him for a while. Yeah, not great. I mean, not a great contract. I'd have to go back and look at the history of the Phillies contracts, but that to me has I can't argue right now that is not a great looking contract.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. It's a 7-year deal worth $172 million. I signed it in 2023. Deal runs through 2030, and full guaranteed money, no opt-outs.
Damn.
So yeah, you're kind of just stuck. But you know what? Recently he's been better. I need 5 innings of even decent baseball pitching because Alcantara might carry me by himself. So that's kind of my thoughts there. But yeah, Nola this season has been rough, and last year wasn't pretty either. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But either way,
we can long-term contracts should be a thing. We can move to that next week or next episode maybe, because I've believed that the long-term contracts are absolutely ridiculous for a long time, and I think the Padres actually have some of the worst of them. But so let's put that on the stove for tomorrow.
Yeah, you know who's also pretty anti long-term contracts?
The Dodgers.
I was going to say the owners. That's why we might have a lockout next season because there have been a couple of really rough contracts. I still remember one example, which we might get into a bit more in detail next week. The one off season where all the shortstops signed for serious money. It was Swanson, it was Xander, and it was Trey Turner. And I'm just looking at these contracts being signed, and I'm like, all of these look horrendous. And the Bogarts one has already been terrible. We mentioned San Diego earlier in the show. I'm not sure really any of those have worked out. Dansby's injured now. The bat's fallen off. The fielding, though, is incredible because Dansby's a wizard at shortstop. But the hitting hasn't been great. Trey Turner got booed and I got cheered to revive one season of his. But in general, his shortstop defense hasn't been good either. That hasn't really worked out. And Xander is a whole separate can of worms. So that's like one example of one off season where all the shortstops got paid. And I think I hated all of those contracts at the same time. And I think they've aged pretty poorly. So, yeah, we'll mention them more next week, but there are a bunch to go around.
Yeah, I'm always on the player's side, getting paid, getting security, good for them. But from a business standpoint, it can't make sense. Real quick, I'm looking at the Padres right now. They got Machado through 2033. They got Tatis through 2034. They got Bogarts through 2033. 3 guys that are all going to be about 40 years old.
Yeah, you know what I have to say about that?
No.
Have fun.
Enjoy
have fun
that.
with those contracts. Have fun.
Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Bogarts is 33, so that he'll be what, 41 playing for the Padres?
I think that was the issue, is that, at least for me, just briefly talking about it, I was fine if you wanted to pay Xander because you wanted that position filled. The problem was the length of the deal. Because you're paying that guy that much money when he's going to be playing into his 40s. And I'm assuming that we'd agree most shortstops stop playing even remotely solid defense at what, like 32, 33?
Yep. Yeah, so, the Bogarts one is one of the most asinine
I think it's an albatross.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The Padres tried to do that with Judge. That's Padre fans love to complain about. We tried to get Judge. The MLB said they were going to veto it. Well, they tried to do what the Dodgers did with Ohtani, which is we're going to give you all this money and then we're going to defer it. But instead of deferring it, they were just adding years to his contract. They tried to write up a contract that would have Judge there until he was like 46.
Yeah, that's like a Bonilla situation. That's like a Bonilla situation.
Yes, the MLB is like, no, you're not going to have him actually playing for you when he's 47 years old. So we're going to veto that if it comes through. And there's two ways to go about it, I suppose: defer the money or lengthen the contract. But you can't lengthen the contract to where everybody knows this guy's not actually going to be playing at the end of this contract.
Yeah, but either way, there are a lot of bad contracts to go around. But those were a couple that caught my eye, the shortstop ones, because once the defense falls off, they're basically playing either first base or DH, and they're already under contract for another like 6-7 years. Like those are not going to age well.
And shortstops are not the guys to naturally transition to a DH. Leave that for right field, first base.
Yeah, pretty much. But either way, we'll save some of the deep dive contract stuff. We can probably do that for a Friday episode, like just compiling our worst contracts in the league kind of thing. We can do that. But either way, moving on into the next game on the card, we have the Yankees taking on the Orioles. The Yankees actually did score more than 1 point yesterday. It was all by one guy. Grisham did the entire lifting of the offense. He had all 3 RBIs and a homer. But either way, the Yankees did win 3-1. Baltimore only scored 1 point, so that helped out the win. For the pricing, though, the Yankees are -116. Baltimore is +110, and the over-under is at 9.5 or 9. To shop around, you can find different numbers available to you. But for the pitching matchup, we have Warren taking on Bassett. For the actual numbers here, Warren recently has not been good. Last 4 starts, 19 innings, a 6.63 ERA. Bassett's season numbers aren't that great. However, he just came back off the IL, and you know what? He was good against Tampa. 5 1/3, 2 runs. So kind of tough to evaluate where he's at because he only made 1 start since returning. But so far, so good against Tampa. The Yankees, though, offensively still can't score, even with the win yesterday. They scored less than 5 runs in 7 of their last 8 games. But Baltimore has been, I'd say, underwhelming lately, as they're 5-7 in their last 12. So, Jake, thoughts on the game in Camden tonight?
Listen, I'm not a fan of the Yankees. Most people that follow any of my social media know that.
I didn't get that, I didn't get that idea from you. No.
We're a few episodes in. You should know by now. Not a fan of the Yankees. I went 3-1, 1-3 yesterday. I looked at this game and said, all right, maybe today's the day. Like most people that love to bet on sports, there's always that moment where they're like, if I would have just bet the opposite, I would have won all my bets. So because I don't want to actually go with what I want to go with the Yankees, which is they can't hit. The Orioles do not look good either. This should be an under call. I'm going to flip my bet, and I'm going to take the over 8.5 and just see what happens.
I think you mean 9.
Whatever, 9. I'm going to take the over 9. We looked at 8.5. That didn't make sense. I'm going to take the over 9.
I think it was like 150. So you can't take 8.5. It's just expensive.
Yes. Give me the over 9. Give me some runs for once today from this Yankees offense and this Orioles offense, and just give me the old, I'm going to flip my pick and it's going to work out. That would be nice.
Yeah, so whatever type of, backwards logic you're throwing out there, I hope it works out for you because I have the Yankees team total under in this game at 4.5 -102. We're going to bring on producer Mike in a second because I know that he's a big Warren fan. Spoilers. So we're going to get into that in a second. But I'm not a Warren guy at all. There's a chance that Warren gets shelled here. It wouldn't totally shock me. Bassett, though, was fine against Tampa. He got thrown into the fire, and he actually came out, I'd say, mostly unscathed, which is a solid first outing back for him. The Yankees, though, had scored less than 5 runs in 14 of their last 17 games. They scored less than 5 runs in 8 straight road games. So even if the game does go over, I think Warren's going to contribute heavily to that. And the fact is, Baltimore, I think pitching-wise, they can do okay. Yankees did only score 3. It was only Trent Grisham who did anything yesterday, and he's batting leadoff. So based on that, the Yankees, I think, can still win this game, but it feels like everyone they have is the same. It's 3-1, it's 3-2, it's a 1-1 game in the 6th inning, and then you bring on Bednar to shut the door because he's been incredible for the Yankees for the last couple of months. But I'm going to ignore Warren entirely because I don't trust him. He might cash your over by himself. So I'm going to ignore him entirely. I'm going to fade this Yankees offense. Give me the Yankees team total under 4.5 instead at -102. But I also want to give Warren a chance to defend himself. And to do that, I'm going to bring on one of his biggest fans, producer Mike. So, Mike, can you maybe make an argument as to why Warren's not totally terrible?
No.
Okay, cool. Good talk. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Warren, to me, is indicative of, the Yankees will have these guys who will have good starts, good moments. Even pitchers aside, even the fielders will have some good games, and they'll go, wow, he's great when he's good. We got to keep him. And they hold on to these people for dear life. So Warren, there was injuries this year. Somebody tweeted this out yesterday that he's got 9 lives, this guy. And it's the perfect sense because with Rodon coming back, it looked like, okay, Warren, you're off to the bullpen.
And then Fried got hurt.
And then, Fried goes down. So Warren is a guy who drives me nuts. We've seen this a lot of times. Personally, I'm sure he's a good guy. But as a pitcher, I think he's going to be the first guy delegated to the bullpen if the Yankees have a full starting rotation that's healthy. But, he just likes to give up home runs in the beginning of the game. And then he's like, oh, and he feels sad. And he's got that little sad face. And, I don't know. I'm not a fan of him right now. I wish we get it together. Clark Schmidt was a lot like this too, but he turned it around. And it looked like Warren was going to turn a corner. But he still has these starts where either he's going to be great, looks like an all-star, and then he's got these starts where it's like, he's shaky. He gives up a home run and he can't keep it together. So
those guys don't turn things around. When they show you who they are, which is a roller coaster, some days it's baseball. That means they're not that good. Some days the ball rolls your way, some days it doesn't. And when you're up and down and up and down, he's given up 14 earned in his last 4 starts. Gave up 3 jacks last outing. He's a mediocre pitcher. And when you're mediocre, the ball either rolls your way that day or it doesn't. And that's what's exactly you're seeing all season with him. And the Yankees offense doesn't let guys pitch with a lead. That's the biggest problem with a lot of these pitchers is they're never pitching with the lead. They're never pitching, oh, thanks, guys. We put up a 4 spot in the second inning. I can go fill up the zone and I can attack hitters and let you guys do your stuff. Their defense isn't great either. So the pitchers feel probably the need to be very good out there if they're going to try to get a win because the offense doesn't show up. The defense is suspect. You can't really blame these pitchers. A pitcher needs to be able to pitch freely.
It's a lot of stress when you're offense and going in, like if I get 3 runs, I'm going to be somewhat satisfied. That's not giving you a lot of room for error.
No, and it goes both ways. When an offense has a Skubal or a Schlittler or one of these guys on the mound, they know, hey, go get 2 runs today. Let's go get them 2. We're going to get a W. That used to be the story back in the day with the aces. They would go get me 1 run, boys. I'll take care of the rest. But now, no, it's like, go get us 5 because I'm only going to go 5 innings because I'm going to throw 112 pitches. And then we're going to hope that the 4 guys that come out of the pen are feeling good today too. It's a different game. You got to hit to win. That's the big thing for me. I coached high school baseball. I had a couple teams that were very good defensively and on the mound and couldn't hit. And I tell you, after years of losing 2-1 games, 3-0, somebody scores 2 runs in the second inning and you feel like the game's already over. When you hit the ball, 7 innings in high school, 9 innings in pro, you got a chance for 9 straight innings. You have to hit. This is why I can't stand this Yankees team. Number 1 in home runs, number 29 or 30 in batting average. It's a stupid, stupid system.
If Warren gives up a 3-run home run in the second inning, we might not see the Yankees come back from that the way they're hitting. They'll score a run later in the 8th, and then they'll leave runners stranded. Somebody posted a video. This was interesting. Somebody filmed the Yankees leaving a game, and you could see every car that they owned. And
this was recently, or this was like a couple weeks ago?
It was yesterday. I think. I don't know if the video was old, but I just saw this yesterday. Will Warren's leaving in this nice fancy SUV. Let's give him a bike. You don't get to ride that car drive that car until you win, until you have an outing. For now, you get the bike. Okay. These players, we were just talking about this. They got to earn it. There's too much money. They're too comfortable. If they lose the game, I got my SUV. I'm going home. It's human nature. You got to walk to work and bring everybody coffee. That's my opinion.
It's a little tough to walk to work in Baltimore, but I get where your head's at, though. I understand the point you're making. I'll put it this way. I think Warren is a solid back-end rotation starter. I think if you went into a random season and he's your 4, you'd feel fine about it. Do I think he's a top 3 guy? No, I don't. I think that he's a back-end solid 4 or 5. Is that a fair description of him, basically?
Yeah, it is. It's not so much, again, I don't want to criticize the person. These guys are humans. They're ball players. Jake, we met some of the guys. Some of the guys on the Dodgers. They were cool guys. But the organization keeps trotting these guys out. That's why at the deadline, we as Yankee fans are so pissed off that why didn't you? I guess maybe they called for Skubal, but there was no harm in there's never harm going for another starting pitcher. You're going all the way this year. You're trying to go for it all this year. Go get everything. You got 10 tanks. Go get 10 more. You don't have too many. So.
I'm telling you, they didn't do that because they don't think Judge is going to be back. And why waste all your prospects on this year when you don't have your one dude that runs your lineup? I'm telling you, even if he's back, he's not going to be the same Judge. They took a back seat because they know internally Judge ain't going to be there when it matters this year.
We'll see what the story is with Judge and Stan. I'll tell you who really needs both of them right now. Ben Rice. I know he hit the home run in extras against Toronto, but damn, his numbers have fallen off a cliff lately. And Ramos, I think, has one hit in the entire Yankees uniform so far.
Terrible.
So, yeah, that hasn't worked out either. Not to mention the fact they still didn't trade for a catcher. So, an interesting trade deadline for Cashman. But
I think they missed the catcher, and then they said, "Oh, let's get something. So let's get a first baseman where we're already stacked with a Ben Rice and Goldschmidt over there from time to time." And then
I don't mind Garcia, to be clear, but like the Ramos move, I didn't get at all.
I think Garcia's been good for him. I don't mind it either, but I think those are two emergency. We got to do something pickups. That's crazy.
I think they wanted what's his name, Shea Langoliers. Am I saying that right?
He ended up getting injured. He also had Goodman from Colorado, who was an option for them.
Yeah.
He's injured too. So
the Yankees need a song. Like they need their own OMG. We have Lombard. That's fun. We need a song or a mascot to throw out a pitch. That's
when you say a song. Do you mean Frank Sinatra after wins?
No, we
talking about?
Okay, we need another song.
We need Jazz to write a song. We need Jazz to come out with a song.
Yeah, we need the remix. Jazz is a hip hop guy. Yeah, let's get this New York remix, and then we'll invite him back to throw out the first pitch at some point, like the Mets did last night.
All right, that's enough.
How'd that go for the Mets, by the way? How'd that go? They lost, right?
Yeah, it didn't help him yesterday.
Didn't help. Helped Tatis, though. Big fan of OMG, Fernando Tatis Jr. But either way, Mike, thanks for tuning in there. Thanks for chiming in on Warren. But yeah, once again, I'm going to ignore him entirely. I'll fade the Yankees offense and just go from there. I feel like 4.5 is a pretty good deal to get the under on that one. Anything else you want to add for this game?
Nope.
Cool. Moving on to the next matchup, the final game on the card, we have the Mariners taking on the Brewers. Now, as bad as the Yankees offense has been lately, Seattle says, hold my beer, because Seattle, damn, this team's awful. They got smacked yesterday 22-0. They did use a position player for the 8th inning, and Julio did chuck a ball into the outfield with 2 outs, which was, I mean, look, if I'm down 19-0 or 20-0, I might have mentally checked out about 5 innings ago too, but it wasn't a good look for Julio. But the point is Seattle got smacked yesterday, and Milwaukee helped really sweep the card for me because they were plus 149 to win by 2+ runs, and they won by 22+ runs. So I appreciate it. Before the pricing in this game, Milwaukee's minus 118, Seattle's around plus 110. Over-under is at either 6.5 or 7. So a low total, but it makes sense. You have Gilbert going for Seattle, who's been solid, and you have May, who's been really good since joining Milwaukee. For the former both pitchers in this one, though, Gilbert on the road, 60 innings, a 2.25 ERA. May, last 4 starts, 24 innings, a 1.5 ERA. So I get why the total is so low. You can argue that it's a little bit too low. But for this matchup, what do you like in this game, Jake?
I'm going to go with the Brewers in this one. Money line, minus 125. Or whatever they're at. What are they at? I'm going to go with the Brewers.
It's at minus 118.
Yeah, 118. I'm just going to start. I'm going to take this one. If I looked at this for my own mental, I'm not betting on the Brewers to be good. I'm just looking at the Mariners, and I'm going to say these guys are a bad baseball team, and I'm just going to bet that they're going to be bad today. That's my plan. Pitching aside, I could say the Brewers are a much better team. They should win. I'm going to play with them. I'm going to roll with them, but I'm going to take the opposite side and go, the Mariners are very bad, and I'm just going to bet that they're going to be bad today.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really just a matter of a good team against a bad team. I was all over Milwaukee yesterday. I thanked all the sports books, not individually, but I had in my thoughts for giving me plus 149 on the run line because I just felt great about Harrison shutting down this team. He was great. Seattle actually had a decent start, and then it all unraveled quickly. But their bullpen has been really bad for the last couple of weeks. That killed them in the Yankees series. But 22-0 is 22-0. 4 errors as well doesn't exactly look good for Seattle. They're just not a good team. I mean, Dan Wilson at the end of the day, look, they had a great run last year. I think we can agree that he's going to get fired at some point once the season's over because with all the expectations they had, they are in no position to turn it around right now. And the AL West is not good. And they are going to finish probably 4th in that division. Like, that is rough if you're Seattle and you're a fan there. A legacy of pain and suffering if you're a Mariners fan. But still, I'm going Milwaukee with you. I got the same play. I'll go for minus 118. I think Milwaukee is a much better team. The fact is they have the best record basically in the entire National League right now. They're 42-22 at home. They're a wagon in this ballpark. Seattle's 26-38 on the road, and they can't hit. So even if Seattle gets a decent start from Gilbert, I don't trust the offense to do much. Gilbert got a win his last outing. It was 1-0 against the Yankees. So I don't trust them to score enough runs. And if Gilbert only goes 7 or even 6 or 7 innings, I don't trust the bullpen. The bullpen's been awful for the last couple of weeks. So I'll go for Milwaukee. I think 118 is very cheap. I think these starters might cancel each other out. May's been solid. Gilbert's been good. So if you end up getting a 1-1 game in the 7th inning, whose bullpen would you rather have? Milwaukee or Seattle? And it's a resounding Milwaukee for me. So I'll go for Milwaukee minus 118. I'm shocked this is not minus 135, minus 140.
So am I, actually. And to your point, Milwaukee has the best record in all of baseball, 78 wins. Dodgers are next with 76. But yeah, they are a very good regular season team, good in the playoffs till they ran into the Dodgers last year. But this style of baseball plays in the regular season because it's good, it's fundamentally sound, it's show up, and it's not just like try to win a game today, it's win every pitch, battle in the box. They did this. I watched the Dodgers series, so I'm going to go back to that one. They just taxed pitchers. The Brewers taxed pitchers. They taxed Skubal. He was at 100-something pitch. He threw over 100 for the first time this year against the Brewers because I think they put up a run on him, maybe 2 at the most, but they taxed him. They got him out of there early. And this is what they do. They play a little bit of small ball. They run the bases. They do a very good job. So I think this team, as far as regular season goes, very good. And then playoffs, you need a little thump. You need that home run ball off good pitchers. You need to get somebody's ace and tag him for a 3-run shot instead of trying to put 4 consecutive hits together. So I like the Brewers a lot in the regular season, and I feel good about. Again, I'm betting on a bad team today to lose, not a good team to win. I'm just shifting my mindset for this one.
Yeah, I just think these teams are polar opposites. One of them is exactly what you should be looking for in a regular season team, and the other is the Mariners. Yep. That's really all I have to say. The offense has been terrible. The pitching's been bad. You could argue they checked out. Who knows? But Milwaukee, Murph Ball's a thing in the regular season. He's won multiple Manager of the Years, as he should. He might win it again. Probably not, but there's a chance. So whatever he does works. Maybe not in October, but it definitely works in August and September. So I'll go for Milwaukee in this one with you at minus 118. Moving on, though, to the final segment of the show. Of course, our breakfast bombs. And Jake, I'll let you go first. Who's going to be your home run pick for the Wednesday card?
Give me Mr. Sal Stewart today. That's who I like. And we were talking about him earlier. He is, what is he at? Plus what?
About 175, give or take.
Yeah. So give me Sal Stewart to launch a baseball today into the stands. And then I want to talk about him maybe tomorrow or a little later in the week and his MVP.
Well, by the way, sorry to interrupt. It was 330. Sorry, Mike, you just put the graphic up one more time for the Sal Stewart home run real quick. So it's 335 for the homer. The Rookie of the Year conversation we had off air was about like 170, 175.
Yeah, which is crazy because we'll get in depth about this a little later, but Weatherholt's minus 160 for the Rookie of the Year. And if we look at their numbers right now, Stewart's got 26 jacks, 24 doubles, 91 ribbies. He's hitting 258. Weatherholt, 241. He's got 16 home runs, 13 doubles, and 46 ribbies, which is half the stats. take out the batting average. He's got him by about 20 points there, but he has half the home runs, half the doubles, half the ribbies. So if you're going to tell me that in Rookie of the Year, this defense matters with Weatherholt, but you're going to tell me last year with Judge and Raleigh that defense doesn't matter, then I think we got some discussion to have here about what actually matters in baseball.
We'll have the discussion tomorrow, but I'll put it this way. I think the pricing is kind of insane where it is right now. That's like a teaser for tomorrow, but I think he can go yard tonight. I'm a big fan of Sal Stewart in general. After watching him destroy the Dodgers in the playoffs last year, the lost series anyways, it was all in vain, but you could tell immediately like he's ready to potentially dominate, and he's been really good. So there you go. For me, though, I'm going to go for another young guy. I'm going to go for Griffin Conine. I'll go for the home run at plus 365. Conine's been solid lately, last 10 games, 337 expected batting average, an ISO of 433, and a hard hit rate of 59.1%. He's not going to cover off the ball. Not to mention the fact we, of course, are in Philly, which can be pretty, I'll put it this way, generous to hitters at times, especially if you are a lefty. So a good ballpark for him. We know Nola does have a bit of a home run problem. Last 5 starts, a 50% hard hit rate, 2.33 home runs per 9. I like the matchup. I think the ballpark's good for him as well. Give me Griffin Conine to hit a bomb. Very underrated amount of power in the middle of that Marlins lineup. Plus 365 on Conine.
I like it.
Cool. That's going to wrap it up, though, for the Wednesday show. Jake, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm hoping there's another graphic for you tomorrow. That would mean another sweep. I'm hoping to turn my 1-3 yesterday into maybe 3-1 today. And this is the game, man. This is why we do this. It's exciting, it's fun, and something to look at every day.
Yeah, definitely true. But I'll try to run it back. Hopefully, knock on wood, I go 8-0 over the last 2 days. But until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bats. Bye, everyone.